This is a Watchung Borough School District Board of Education meeting. It's June 13th at 7 p.m. The Watchung Borough School District is committed to inspiring learners to explore, inquire, and collaborate on their joyful journey towards discovery, independent thinking, and creative problem solving. Our culture of acceptance and inclusion provides the foundation for learning and social and emotional growth. Reflection and ethical decision making, we continue to learn and grow, embrace differences, and prepare for an increasingly complex, ever-changing world. Could I have a call to order?
We're there, we've done that. Now we just do Pledge of Allegiance.
All right.
Your Pledge of Allegiance.
Then I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to a meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Watchung. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the board are open to the public and media, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, and that the advance notice required therein has been provided. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Watchung at which formal action may be taken. This meeting is being live streamed on the district website, where a recording of the meeting will also be posted. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda at points in the meeting provided for the public to address the board. Recording or photographing other than for private personal use requires the consent of parents/guardians whose children may be included in the image. Bishop Johnson, can I have a roll call?
Yes. Mrs. Agliaro? Here. Mrs. Amadeo? Here. Mr. Frage?
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez is absent. Mrs. Harvey? Here. Mr. Ingracia is absent. Mrs. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Santos?
Here.
Dr. Vinces Kua? Here.
And we're going to move on to a presentation by Creature Comforts Pet Therapy.
Yep. So before we introduce Cindy and Motzi, one of our teachers at Bayberry School, who was not able to be here tonight because of her own child's graduation and feels really passionate about Creature Comfort Pet Therapy, asked if we could please read a statement. There's also a PowerPoint about Motzi and Motzi's friend Fauci visiting her classroom. And I'm just going to read this because it's easier than me trying to figure it out. My name is Kristen Stack, and I want to share about my wonderful experience and the experience my students were able to have this school year because of Creature Comfort Pet Therapy. I work closely with Nancy Fernandez and Mary Beth Cooney from CCPT to help fund this incredible program for my students. CCPT teams, Motzi and Cindy, Ruth and Fauci, visited my classroom with monthly visits, and my students got to practice and enhance their literacy skills. On some visits, my students would read their own writing pieces from Writer's Workshop. They were eager to finish and publish their drafts so they could present them to Motzi and Fauci, our furry friends, and always enjoy listening to my students read their own writing. Other visits, my students would read aloud to the dogs from their Reader's Workshop books. I have been incredibly passionate about bringing this program into my classroom for several years. I've written several grants to try and fund the program, and thankfully CCPT helped me with funding it for this school year. Research supports that reading and interacting with dogs helps reduce stress. That's why I brought them here today. So this program was the perfect way to help my students feel less anxious, improve their overall mental health, and social emotional skills. Research also supports that reading to dogs is a great way to improve self-confidence and public speaking skills. This is because it gives students an opportunity to truly speak loud and proud, as I often say to my students. They read beautifully. They are not afraid of making mistakes because they know Motzi and Fauci love every minute of reading together. Our last visit was just this past Monday, and my students invited Motzi and Fauci to join them in our morning meeting. We sang 2 of our good morning songs together and then had a very special Care to Share. Ruth and Cindy helped share for Motzi and Fauci. I feel incredibly blessed to have worked with CCPT this school year. I'm looking forward to qualifying for another grant to help this program in my classroom during the next school years. So that's from Kristen. You can see what's going on. I'm going to say I had the pleasure of meeting Cindy and Motzi with the Valley View students, actually, in the winter. They were doing one of their service projects, a collection for women's shelters, and I kind of fell in love right away. I will tell you that I looked for Miss Fickner's weekly report telling me where Motzi was going to be. So I do want to introduce you, and all of you have that opportunity. If you'd like to read something, you can. But we're going to, Phyllis, I'm going to drag you into this. You're going to do this with me. Come on.
Well, Motzi lives near me.
I know. Wait until you see what I'm going to get you to do with Motzi. I actually love this. And anybody
sure
want
you're
a
in the
pet,
camera.
It's good for you. It's good for you. Sorry, you have to hold her up. Come, Philip. Say.
Dear. Pay attention first. Good job.
Yeah. Thought it was just read the whole thing and then ask for motion. I was gonna read the entire thing and ask for motion, but I guess that's fine. 100%.
Okay, so we teach the kids how to feed them, and all the kids want to feed them. So I take the kids' hands, and they keep your fingers down. He's not going to eat it. So we teach them to put the,
Right.
and that's it. Hey, come here, come here, bring your mom.
Oh.
And he visits with a lot of the students. Wants to see everybody, right? Okay, give him a sweet.
Can I sing? Well, you are all, the whole community is in trouble now. Turn around. You don't like my voice?
Should have gotten you up there. Sing some poor got me.
It's gonna take her down.
I guess I'm taller.
All right, how about, you want to take a nap? Let's see, you want to take a nap?
All right.
Good. So we'd like to do this all day.
Woo!
Free Willy.
Wow.
We should have brought him right.
Sit. Sit.
I don't think it's gonna last much longer.
So he's really
Yeah.
The dog. He sees it right there in the corner.
Yeah.
when when he's reading with the kids, as Dr. Glazer said, it brings him down a whole level.
That's how I knew about Take a Nap. He lays down, they're all over him, everybody's reading, it's beautiful.
Just so you know, you guys aren't in the camera. If you want to go a little by Phyllis.
Look at me. There you go. A good nap. So the kids really calm down. I actually work at Mount Horeb too, and I was doing, they actually, we were working in a reading recovery there, and I was there 1 year, and then I went back the next year, this little girl was flying over to me, she put her hands on her hips, and she said, "I'm so sorry I'm not going to be with you this year. I love reading to Rosie." I graduated that. So it was really cute. He also works with conflict resolution, so if you want me to come back again, I'd be happy to. I work with the prosecutor's office in Ottawa and Patterson, and I'm going to start working with them probably with the Somerset prosecutor's office, working with child advocacy. So the kids that are going to testify and sit with him.
Oh, great.
Or sit with an animal before they have to go into court.
Oh, nice.
Was that 6? So, we also go to the hospital. We go to JFK Hospital, and they say it's for the patients, but it's really for the staff. So the staff just really, it's easier for me than I've been here, I've come here, I've been here, I've done Valley View, officially, I'm not through Creature Comfort, I'm just, my kids both graduated from here. So I have school and my kids do beautifully here, we really love it. I want to come back, so I started coming here. And then I found out that Creature Comfort was working in Bay Area, so I also work there. If you want to come to those schools, I'm sure we can work on see. All right, Saturday.
Thank you, Cindy and Mo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a whole new person from
Who
20
knew that-
minutes ago.
Who knew that board meetings?
Oh, I fed Motzi.
I knew.
My
You
hand is
knew.
full of slobber.
Do I love that?
Oh, that's so nice.
So I think we go to executive.
So now we move into executive session, whereas the Open Public Meeting Act permits the Board of Education to meet in closed session to discuss certain matters. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of Watchung adjourns to closed session to discuss matter rendered confidential by federal or state law, student matters, and prospective or current employees unless all who could be affected request an open session. Further resolved that the minutes of this closed session be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in
A
favor?
roll call?
I think we just.
Yeah.
You're an
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's it, we have to go into executive session.
It's me again. Sorry.
So we are going to move on to superintendent remarks, to the district update, a year in review.
And I will also be doing the principals' reports. They've been out with us, with all of you, honestly, too, every night. I just didn't have the heart after they were dismissed at 1 today to say, stick around till 8. Aaron, you have yep, there you go. Thank you. So you can see where we're starting. I can't believe, actually, that today was the last day for our staff and students. This 9 months has gone by at lightning speed. I don't know, they say the older you get, the faster it goes. Maybe it's that, but I have never seen anything go by that fast. So I want to start off tonight with our most recent events, what you see up there. Today was the 4th grade clap out. At Bayberry, we have Aaron, you can just, is it running automatically? So you don't have to push it? If you want, you can just push it right through.
Sorry, just tell me when to go to the next one.
You can just literally just scroll through. You can just keep pushing it until it stops. So we had the 4th grade clap out, the 4th grade picnic. Last night was our lovely, lovely 8th grade graduation. This week, we also were able to honor our, that's kindergarten moving up ceremony. Their future's so bright, they've got to wear shades. I know they're so cute. On Tuesday, we surprised our longtime custodian, Frankie Kenner, at a surprise party to wish him well in retirement. On Monday, our Valley View students did their annual, there's Frankie, our annual Miles for Smiles fundraiser. They were able to raise $750 that they donated to Haven Veteran North in honor of our beloved staff member, Mr. Dan, who did pass away in May. There's all of our retirees. We were also able to gather at Watchung Lake to celebrate Mr. Dan's life. It turned into a beautiful day. You'll see there's the check and some lovely pictures. Again, it has been 4 days this week and about 30 events. Mm-hmm. And I would like to recognize all of the staff and students who contributed to making a PTO food truck, who contributed to making this week just so very special. Kathy and Audrey, the Valley View secretaries, Marlon and Camille, the Bayberry secretaries, our principals, our amazing chairs in the park, amazing for them. Christina Franco and Lauren Miller, Carissa Stanzak, all here at Valley View working on those 2 events. Cindy Deegan, who was Mr. Dan's co-teacher, just so many others. We are blessed. We are truly blessed to have the above and beyond people that we do. And honestly, I am grateful to work with each of you too, because board members, you all came out every day this week too. You were at the events, you were with our students, and that is the kind of community that I signed on for. So thank you. The staff received a letter from me this morning thanking them, the full staff, for their efforts and support this year. And our families also received a letter in review of the year this afternoon. Both of them are available on the district website. So for the sake of our 4th night out, I'm not going to go through all of them in detail. We have a long agenda, but I do want to say, despite all of with our transportation crises, our budget crises, our transition stress, this has been a year of progress and achievement. We have completed a significant number of site improvements, safety and security, building and referendum projects just during the course of the year. Completed those sidewalks and concrete repairs, installation of our security window film, the casework at Bayberry and Valley View, the music room, the faculty room, all of that. 85%, Aaron, I know you're still pushing through the slideshow, but 85% of the IT upgrades, cameras, access controls, communications, PAs, You can thank Aaron for researching and getting all of that done this school year. Additionally, we've revised and improved our safety and security systems and protocols. I know you couldn't even get in. We have structured all the planning and bidding and the supporting purchases and materials and the furniture and the casework for everything that's going to happen this summer. And I know that when I came, people were very concerned that we weren't going to get this referendum done. They were very concerned that these projects weren't going to go forward. And I have to tell you that over the summer, we will be completing the upgrades to the heating, ventilation, and air systems, the security upgrades at both schools, roof replacement and maintenance, electrical and plumbing upgrades at Bayberry, all of the interior renovations and upgrades to the media center and the art room and the front office at Valley View. It's exciting. This community should be excited for what's coming. During the budget process, all of you, your board prioritized restoring staff and programming to improve and enhance curriculum and instruction assessment, adding resources, staff professional learning, maintaining those sports and clubs. The goals that you'll get to vote on in a few minutes, I think reflect your efforts, right? It's all of these things that in the long run are going to help with outcomes at every level of the district. Achievement, social emotional learning facilities, stability, sustainability. And I hope, I know I am proud of what's been accomplished this year, but I truly hope that you are also proud. And Karen Bishop Johnson, I'm just going to say this, 3.5 months, our budget, that approved budget, creates the start of a framework for financial and operational stability that could be sustainable. It reflects creating a sound financial foundation. It looks ahead to the future years. It projects initiatives that maybe we haven't even thought about yet, or staffing that we couldn't do but we knew, and you reserve those funds for use in the future. And again, just a masterful job. Thank you. You should be proud too. Transportation, what we're hoping to accomplish for the fall, what's been developed, expanding those shared service agreements for busing with Watchung Hills, and spending the time to review and address every issue so it wouldn't be repeated in the fall. Again, something I think to be proud of. For the community, that full plan, the town hall, all of that is on the website. In the letter today, we also linked everything, including the forms to volunteer. Please, please, please take advantage of that. Because finally, after tonight's meeting and all of this planning, we're moving out. We are out of the school buildings from tonight until perhaps August. We will have no access, and I want people to understand that doesn't mean that the district is closed. We are here, not here, we are working Monday to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. There is no July Board of Education meeting because of the construction. We will be sending a referendum update mid-July so everybody knows what's going on. We will also obviously communicate for back to school in August. I just need to reiterate this. Connor from Legacy Management asked me to reiterate this. It was not just on our website today. The borough also posted all of our schedule and this information. Please, 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 neighbors, the schools are an active construction zone. There is no parking in the parking lots. There is no access to school grounds. We are telling you, it's a hard hat area. If we can't be here, please keep your pets safe, your children safe, the tires of your car safe. No access, please. Thank you. It has been maybe not the year I expected, but it has ended for me in a beautiful way. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Glazer. Thank Thank you.
And
That was for the
Oh, that was
principals
both,
as well.
okay.
All those slides that Aaron went through, it wasn't just this week. You got to see Field Day and Sandy Hook. You got to see the PTO Food Truck Festival. So many things. So we kind of just
that would make sense.
scooped them up into the same week.
Then we'll move on to the business administrator's report.
So in the business office is as normally busy. I say this every time. I also would love to thank my staff because I can't do anything without them. So I would like to, also recognize them for a great year. And we will be busy this summer, so getting ready for next year.
Well, first you got to finish this one.
That is true. We have to close the year. Yes, so we will close the year. We've already opened the new year, so basically we're doing 2 years, simultaneously right now. So it's a busy time of year. It's, when I get here and tell you we didn't do anything all month, I want to know. Yeah.
Then we're going to move on to committee reports. So I'm going to start with personnel. The Personnel Committee met on Thursday, June 6th, 2024, at 5:40 p.m. in person. The committee members that were there were myself, and I was virtual until 6:01 until I actually came into the board office, Ms. Vinscua and Mr. Ingracia, who was virtual the entire time, and Dr. Glazer. So we discussed the reappointment of staff, the reappointment of unaffiliated administrators, the amendment of renewal tenured certificated staff, just to add longevity. We discussed the reapproval of the manager of IT. We discussed the approval of a salary guide level advancement for 2 people. We discussed the district stipends. We discussed the approval of various ESY staff and related services. We discussed the approval of child study team members for the summer of 2024. The approval of certificated staff to participate in summer IEP meetings. The appointment of a teacher to the ESL program, the appointment of a summer program coordinator for before and after care, the appointment of a district bus driver, the appointment of assistant care provider or multiple assistant care providers, and we will receive that staffing list before the next meeting, and 2 leaves of absences. All right. And then we're going to move on to curriculum. Ms. Jewett.
Okay. Well, the committee did not meet, but Dr. Glazer gave us a lot of information as to what's on tonight's agenda. Approval of the submission of the NJDOE Language Instruction Educational Program, LIP, 3-year plan, 2024 to 2027. This is a requirement to receive the bilingual waiver for multilingual learners and instruction. This plan must have a Board of Ed approval date for submission, but it is not due until the end of July, and we do not have a Board of Ed meeting in July. Therefore, to be in compliance, we will use the June date for submission, and Nicole DeToda will discuss the requirements of the plan at the July Curriculum Committee meeting. We will submit the completed plan for Board of Ed approval for the August Board of Ed meeting, and will make a public presentation on the plan at the August Board of Ed meeting. The new approval date will be uploaded to the NJDOE's homeroom site. Thank you.
Thank you. And on to policy. Ms. Harvey.
Sure. We met on Wednesday, June 5th. The meeting time was between 5:27 to 7:05. It was virtual and in person. Those in attendance were Dr. Glazer, Mr. Frage, myself, Mrs. Amadeo, and Mrs. Jewett. I'm just going to skip around through our minutes here. There are a couple items on the agenda for a second reading. No one got any feedback from any board members or any questions or anything, so those are on there for a second reading. Policy 3211, 3421.13, and 9323 The committee agreed to all the language on those, and they are on for a first reading tonight. Going back up to the top for 2111 guidance counseling, the committee decided to stay with the original options from the existing policy that's on for a first reading. And then we have policy and regulation 2423, bilingual education. The committee received background on what the district currently does with multilingual students. Our district qualifies and uses a 3-year waiver that gives students 1 period a day to support them in speaking English as their second language. The rest of their classes are in general and special education where applicable. We won't qualify for the waiver in the future if we have 20 students who speak the same language. We currently don't have 20 multilingual students who speak the same language, so we still qualify for the waiver. If we get to the point where we have 20 students speaking the same language that isn't English, then policy 2423 goes into effect, and this is on for a first reading. We also have policy and regulation 2431.4, prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions. All outside groups that use our facilities get a copy of this policy, and that's on for a first reading. 3216, dress and grooming. The committee asked the administration to review the policy and provide feedback on what options to select. The policy is not currently recommended for a first reading. 3324, right of privacy. The committee agreed to add the option after receiving the background on the practices and procedures in the schools, and this policy is ready for a first reading. Policy and regulation 3432, sick leave. We abolished this policy at a previous board meeting, and we will be replacing it after the WBEA's contract is renegotiated. Policy 5440, honoring student achievement. The committee agreed to remove any language related to the high school. The committee asked the administration to weigh in on what we should include in the policy language based on our school's practices. They will review the language from the existing and new policies to merge some of the information. This policy is not currently recommended for a first reading. Policy 7510, use of school facilities. The committee asked the administration for feedback and will postpone this policy until the end of the summer to give them some time to work on this. It's not currently up for a first reading. And then we had some new business where we discussed the 5-year strategic plan. A committee member asked about the strategic plan process. The superintendent gave an overview. The committee discussed how new topics can be discussed by the committee or offline. We reviewed sending an email with a topic and questions to be answered to the chair of the committee, the board president, and the superintendent before the committee meeting, keeping in mind to give the administration time to research the topic. The committee member should ask for the topic to appear on the committee agenda or to have the information provided offline outside of the committee structure. The vice president, who is also the chair of the operations committee, was asked to bring this topic to the operations committee to start working on the process of interviewing companies who would facilitate the 5-year strategic plan in hopes of the board voting to hire a facilitator at our August meeting. That's about it. Thanks.
And Ms. Aguilera, could you read the minutes for Operations and Finance?
Sure. The Operations and Finance Committee met on June 4th. The meeting was virtual and attended by Dr. Julie Glazer, Manuel Gonzalez, Conor O'Brien, Dory Harvey, Frank Bowlby, myself, Karen Bishop Johnson, Mohammed Frage, Ricky Boyd, and Ernie Turner. For the referendum, we got a roof update, and it turns out that some parts of the Bayberry roof are under warranty, which is great news. The fire alarm panel PO was submitted. There's going to be Friday meetings for organizing all the contractors, so Connor from Legacy Management, Ricky Boyd, the principals, and Dr. Glazer. The chimney on Bayberry was found to be cracked and chipping and could potentially damage the roof, so this will be repaired, and the repairs fall under the scope of the referendum under roof maintenance and repairs. Work in the library had already begun, the furniture had been moved out, new furniture has been identified. Some of the offices, such as Care and Kids, have been moved in preparation for construction, as well as the teachers have been moving out as well in preparation for the referendum project starting, and reaching out to some electrical contractors for quotes on breaker connections. From the business office, the addendum with ESS, which is substitute staffing and special education staffing, has been completed, and the rates were changed to be more competitive. The audit, correction action plan, and the COI need to be approved for 2023. We should have done it in January, but just with the transition in the business office, wasn't done, so we'll be doing that tonight. The municipal tax levy has been sent to the town for approval, and they were happy with it. We're in the process of renewing our property and casualty insurance. We need to pre-authorize payments for the summer due to the closed buildings, so there's some extra stuff on the agenda tonight. Professional development for a crisis intervention class in September. We're putting that on the agenda now just to make sure it goes through in advance of the summer closing. Before and after care rates have been changed. The rates have gone up by $25 to account for staff. The payroll schedule has been approved. It took all of the duty timesheets to be paid once a month on the 15th, and that streamlines the process. Fit statements for some contracts are inconsistent and should be reviewed with the executive county superintendent. And also there's the renewal of Karen Bishop Johnson's contract that the executive county superintendent approved. That's it. We started about 5 and finished just after 7.
Great. Moving on to the legislative liaison, Ms. Harvey.
Sure. On June 5th, Governor Murphy signed S-2930/A-4045, a bill that revises the state's Open Public Records Act into law. This measure contains several important changes that update the 22-year-old law, including but not limited to provisions that further clarify any agency's responsibility to protect personal information with which it has been entrusted, including debit card number, bank account information, month and day of birth, and personal email address required by a public agency for government applications served any person provided to a public agency for the sole purpose of receiving official notifications, as well as any indecent or graphic images of a person's intimate parts that are captured in a photograph or video recording without the prior written consent of the subject of the photograph or video footage. Enhance protections for video surveillance systems by exempting from public access security alarm system activity and access reports, including video footage for any public building, facility, or grounds, unless the request identifies a specific incident that occurred or a specific date and limited time period at a particular public building, facility, or grounds, and is deemed not to compromise the integrity of the security system by revealing capabilities and vulnerabilities of the system. Provide greater flexibility to public agencies in fulfilling records requests by limiting immediate access records to only those budgets, bills, vouchers, contracts, including collective negotiations, agreements, and individual employment contracts, and public employee salary and overtime information produced in the last 24 months. All other records must be provided within 7 business days. If the record is for a commercial purpose, then the request must be fulfilled in 14 business days. A requester shall have 14 business days to retrieve the government records following notice from the custodian that the request has been completed and the records are available. Require government records to be made available to the public on a publicly available website to the extent feasible. If the records are on the website, the record custodian may direct the requester to the website as a means of fulfilling the records request. If the requester cannot locate the record on the website, assistance shall be provided by the records custodian. If the requester is still unavailable to locate still unable to locate the record and requests a physical copy, the custodian shall provide the requester with a physical copy of the record for a fee not exceeding 2 times the cost of the production of the document. The custodian shall provide the requester with the physical copy of the record within 7 business days of the request for a physical copy. Specify that anonymous requests will still be permitted under OPRA. However, an anonymous requester will not be able to appeal a denial of the record's request. Clarify that requesters will still be entitled to reimbursement of their attorney fees when an agency acts in, quote, bad faith. In all other instances, reimbursement of attorney fees will be at the discretion of the court or Government Records Council. The law goes into effect 90 days after the June 5th signing date. Thanks.
Thank you. Now for the Somerset County Educational Services Commission, which is also Ms. Harvey, but
Yes, I have no update. They had a meeting. I was unable to attend because it was on the same day as our policy meeting. So I believe we meet every 2 months. So when we meet again, I should have an update.
and then the Somerset County School Boards Association liaison, Ms. Amadeo. Is there any update?
Yes, just sharing that, let me find my information. There are events coming up in October and November that might be worth everyone's while. The agendas aren't out yet, but mark your calendars. October 10th and November 18th, I think.
Then moving on to the School Boards Association, Ms. Aguilera.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, since we made professional development one of our goals, that there's been a change on the NJSBA website, and now there's a watch button for all previous webinars. So if you want to go back and watch anything, you can. There was yesterday a webinar on goal setting, so it was a day late, but I still watched it because we still have to do our action plans. And I'm happy to say we did a really good job and we followed all of the recommendations that they set forth in the webinar. On that note, if you go onto the website and you click on your account, you can see your transcript and you can see how many credits you have. And you can see where you are as far as getting a board member certification. I'm not sure if that's something we want to be looking at as part of our professional development action plan. There's also a board certification. And we were board certified in 2016, in May, I believe, of 2016, and it expired in 2020. So I wasn't sure if we wanted to think about it as a board, as part of our professional development in our action plan, if we wanted to look into becoming board certified again. I don't know much about it. All it says is that it requires 16 credits, so something to think about. And since Danielle and I are the liaisons for the School Board Association, I was going to volunteer us to develop the action plan for that goal, if everyone is fine with that. And we're also both willing to collect ideas from everyone as to what types of professional development you'd be interested in. I know Financial Reports 101 was definitely something that was mentioned. It's kind of a dry topic, but I would also love to know the difference between policies, regulations, bylaws, protocols, and procedures. Dry, but important, I think. And then we would be able to coordinate with Gwen as far as setting up some of those webinars or presentations. That's it for me.
I know that we put out, in April, we talked about if we were going to go to school boards in October as a board. I know not everybody can go because of work, but we would have to register, and you definitely want to, at least reserve a hotel room, dinner, something, because it's everybody down there. So maybe if you're going to coordinate that, you'll have to give Karen that direction if you want to register us. And
So maybe everyone, I believe it's October 21st-ish.
and we have the board meeting that Thursday.
Right, it's weekdays, so I know it's harder for everybody who's working.
It's 3 days, correct?
I think it's or 2.5.
Yeah.
So if everybody take a look on the website, and if you're interested in going, then email either myself or Danielle, and then we'll put it all together and send it to Karen. Does that work?
Yeah, because I would have to do the registrations for
Yeah. So maybe we could do that. When would you want that by?
I'll take whenever you can. But it's the hotel. I'll tell you
Okay.
that that's the one thing, because when they run out of room, you don't then get the hotel where the conference is or near it, and then you're taking a car or service, Uber,
Maybe
whatever.
July 15th?
So the faster, the better.
Is July 15th too late? I know it's hard because
Say,
it's
let's
so
say
far in
by,
advance.
let's say by our July committee meetings.
Okay,
What do you think about that?
yeah. I think that's the
That's
same
just
week.
So we can do a reminder at the committee meetings
Yeah.
and then,
Around July 7th.
Can we go down for the one day, or do we have to stay?
Day over, maybe Tuesday.
Did last year, we went down.
You guys, that was
That was a whole
way you
different ballgame.
had approved, but we would stay, right? You would want to go to the sessions Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. Some people, we do have a board meeting Thursday night. And if we're all going, we should find a way to meet other boards.
yeah.
Uh,
Is the agenda
Sure.
out yet?
I
For,
haven't seen it, no.
Not usually.
it's hard to decide
They're still
how
asking
long you want to go.
for
See the agenda.
people we put in a proposal to present. So
Okay.
I'm not sure that they have that out yet. But so I'm going to say, I've been, except for last year, I think I've been, and I actually did go for the day last year, but I think I've been every year, and I have gotten something powerful out of it every year. And I know that the boards, even just by virtue of meeting other boards and talking, they have a huge vendor floor, meeting some of those vendors, it's a really good experience for board members.
And then onto the regionalization committee, there is no update to provide at this time.
We have a meeting, June 24th at 6:30.
We do have a meeting. Yeah, we have a meeting on June 24th, but that is the update.
I have a WEF report, even though
And-
there's nobody here.
Yeah, so there's nobody here from PTO. We do have a WEF report.
Yep. On Saturday, June 22nd, there is a community picnic at Mobus Field from noon to 6 p.m. WEF is doing a fundraiser with the borough. They'll be hosting the beer and wine garden as well as a 50-50 raffle. So they hope that everybody, if they're coming to the picnic, will also stop by and support their efforts to support the schools. They do a lot for us. You'll see in October when we do our ribbon cutting for the summer work, they funded the refurbishment and professional learning for the adventure course. So we could bring that back here at Valley View, just as an example.
There is also nobody here from CPAG. So now we're going to move on to comments from the public, agenda items. We welcome input from the public. Sorry. There are 2 times during the meeting when the public is invited to speak. The first opportunity to comment on agenda items only is now. The second opportunity for public comment is towards the end of the meeting. Total time allotted for public comment is 30 minutes. Before you make your comment, please state your name and municipality of residence. In the event that it appears that the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 30 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 3 minutes duration. Our public forums are not structured as a question and answer session, but rather are offered as opportunities to share input with the board. In instances where the board feels a response is needed, the presiding officer or superintendent will address the comment. New Jersey statutes, I can't speak, do not permit the board to discuss personnel or hiring in public session. Names of students should not be used. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of legal rights of those affected and identified in their comments, and be aware that they are personally legally responsible with potential liability for comments that they make to the board. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. And seeing as there's no one here, we're going to move on to action items. Ms. Amadeo, could you move administrative items?
Yes, I move administrative items. 1, approve minutes of previous meeting. 2, affirm the superintendent's HIB report. 3, accept Bayberry and Valley View School security drill reports. 4, approve special education placements. 5, approve the safe return plan. 6, approve Board of Education goals. Should I read those? Goal 1, foster a more positive and supportive working environment during Board of Education meetings and committee meetings, create an environment of civility and professionalism with more straightforward communication among board members and the superintendent during all meetings. 2, the board will engage in professional development on identified topics as needed that will enhance our collective governance skills and knowledge. 3, provide support within our role as board members for the district's strategic plan. 7, approve district goals. There are 2 district goals. 1, develop a sustainable budget that supports identified curricular changes and implement program initiatives in professional development to support both. And 2, to develop a strategic plan during the 24-25 school year.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a quick question, actually. On number 2, affirm the HIB report, there are 2 items there. In discussion, one of the reports you said was not.
No, so they're both HIB reports. They both still need to be approved by the board, and then by legislation, the alleged offenders and victims get follow-up letters with the disposition of the investigation.
Okay.
Ms. Bishop Johnson, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
and Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Ingrassia are absent. So the motion passes.
Dr. Benskua, could I have a could I have a motion to move personnel items?
Yes. Let's move the first item, authorization to hire staff. 2, approve renewal and contract SBA BA, and the attachment 5. 3, approve renewals and salaries for administrators with attachment 6. Number 4, approve renewal of manager of information technology, attachment 7. Item number 5, approve appointment certificated staff. Item number 6, amend renewal tenured certificated staff. Item 7, approve salary guide level advancement for 2024 to 2025. Item 8, approve stipend positions. Item number 9, appoint 2024 to 2025 program coordinator for before and after care. Item 10, approve Nicole Tidota to serve as learning disabilities teacher consultant. Item 11, approve ESY special education instructional staff. Item 12, approve ESY related services. Item 13, approve ESY special education staff. Item 14, approve child study team members for summer 2024 evaluations and case management. Item 15, approve certificated staff to participate in summer IEP meetings. Item 16, appoint teacher to prepare the 2024 to 2025 ESL program. Item 17, appoint summer program coordinator for before aftercare. Item 18, appoint district bus driver for ESY 2024. Item 19, appoint assistant care providers. Item 20, approve ESY before and after care staff.
It is 21. Yeah.
Item 21, approve leave of absence, caught that too. And item 22, approve summer externs.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Bishop Johnson, roll call, please.
Yes. Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Ingrassia are absent. 7 yeses, motion passes.
Ms. Aguilera, could you read Operations and Finance, please? Or could I have a motion for Operations and Finance?
Sure. I move items under Operation Finance. Number 1, approve payment of bills. Number 2, approve transfer of funds 2023 to 2024. 3, accept financial reports. 4, accept audit and corrective action plan for the school year 2022 to 2023. 5, accept certificate of implementation. 6, authorize municipal tax levy payments. 7, approve professional development / school business and related expenses. 8, approve addendum to extend agreements with ESS Northeast LLC. 9, approve addendum to extend agreements with ESS Support Services. 10, approve annual maintenance service agreements. 11, appoint School Health Insurance Fund Commissioner, or SHIF. 12, appoint the 2024-25 school year before and after care program and tuition rates. And 13, approve the disposition of instructional property.
Second.
Any discussion? Bishop Johnson, roll call, please.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
and Mr. Ingrassia and Mr. Gonzalez are absent. 7 yeses, motion passes.
And on to curriculum. Ms. Jewett?
Okay. Curriculum 1, approve submission of the LIEP 3-year plan.
Second.
Any discussion? Bishop Johnson, roll call, please.
That was fast.
Sorry.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
and Mr. Ingrassia and Mr. Gonzalez are absent. 7 yeses, motion passes.
All right. And then for policy, Ms. Harvey?
Sure, I move 1 first reading and 2 second reading.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Sorry again. Roll call, please.
Okay, Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mr. Ingrassia and Mr. Gonzalez are absent. 7 yeses, motion passes.
All right. Is there any board business to discuss? And there's nobody here from the public. So could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Everybody, have a great summer.